Ethan Voss lived a quiet life now. His home stood alone at the edge of a wide, empty valley in Montana. Trees surrounded the cabin. Mountains watched silently from the distance. He had no neighbors, no phone, and no connection to the life he once lived. After serving as an astronaut in deep space, he had returned to Earth and chosen to disappear. At night, he sometimes looked at the stars, but never for long. That evening, Ethan sat on his porch, a cup of black coffee in his hand, and his dog asleep at his feet. The wind was calm and the sky was filled with stars. Then the wind changed. His dog sat up and growled softly. Ethan frowned. A low humming sound came from the sky, smooth, quiet, not like any aircraft he knew. The stars above shifted. A silver shape broke through the clouds, glowing with soft blue lights. It floated silently, not shaking a single leaf as it descended. It stopped 10 feet above his field, and a light beam stretched from its base to the ground. Ethan stood, coffee forgotten. The ship's door opened. A tall figure stepped out, glowing slightly in the dark. She wore royal armor of silver and violet, a cape fluttering behind her. Her skin was soft gold and her long black hair moved like it was alive. But Ethan knew that face. "Viewership?" he whispered. She smiled, eyes wet with emotion. "I missed you so much, human," she said softly. "Let's go back." 5 years ago, Ethan had met Queen Viewership during a secret mission with Earth's Deep Space Alliance. Zealer Prime, her home planet, was facing political unrest. Ethan had been sent to observe, but instead he saved her life during a palace attack. They had grown close during those weeks. Too close, some had said. But after the mission ended, he had been forced to leave. "No more contact," the order had said. "Forget the Zalari." He had obeyed. And now, she was standing in front of him. Ethan didn't speak for a long time. He stared at her, unsure if this was real, or a dream made of loneliness. "What are you doing here?" he asked finally. Viewership stepped closer. Her voice trembled slightly. "I should have come sooner. But politics, war, and duty kept me chained. Now my world is at the edge of collapse. I need you." Ethan looked down. "I'm not a soldier anymore." "I don't need a soldier. I need you." He laughed bitterly. "You sound like I can fix everything." Viewership didn't laugh. "You once saved my life, my people, and my crown. The people still remember your name. Some believe you're the one from our old prophecy, a human who walks among stars and brings light in the darkest hour." Ethan shook his head. "I'm not a legend. But you are real," she said. "And you were kind when no one else was. You saw us not as aliens, but as people. That matters more than power." The silence between them grew heavy. "Come inside," he said finally. They sat by the fireplace in his small wooden cabin. Viewership looked around, her fingers brushing old Earth books and dusty pictures. She paused at a photo of Ethan in his astronaut suit. "You left everything behind," she said. "I had to," he replied. "Earth Command didn't want contact with Zealer. They said it was too risky." "Do you regret it?" He looked into the fire. "I regret leaving you." The words hung in the air. Neither spoke for a moment. Viewership looked at him gently. "The ones who forced you to leave, and they're gone now. But my enemies have returned. Zealer is breaking. The people are afraid. I thought of you every day. If there was one person who could remind us of hope, it was the human who looked at an alien queen and didn't flinch." Ethan rubbed his eyes. "You want me to come back? To Zealer?" "Yes," she said. "Not as a soldier. As someone they trust. As someone I trust." Ethan stood and walked to the window. Outside, the silver ship waited silently. His heart ached with memories of glowing oceans, twin moons, and long talks beneath Zealer's sky, of her laughter, of her hand holding his. "I don't know if I can help," he said. "I'm not the man I was." "You're more than that now," she replied. "You're someone who chose peace over power, and right now, my world needs peace more than anything." Ethan turned around. He saw no crown in her eyes, Just a person, brave and scared, reaching out to him. He walked to her and placed a hand over hers. "Okay," he said. "Let's go back." The ship flew silently above Earth's clouds. Ethan sat beside Varela in the control chamber. Lights danced across the curved walls. He watched Earth grow smaller through the window, feeling both fear and wonder. It had been 5 years since he left Zelar. Now he was returning. Varela looked at him. "Are you ready?" He gave a small smile. "I don't think I ever will be. But I'm here." She nodded. "That's all I need." As they entered the outer atmosphere of Zelar Prime, Ethan looked out in awe. The planet was more beautiful than he remembered. Twin moons hovered above glowing oceans. Floating cities sparkled in the sky. Airships glided through blue mist. But something was different. "I don't see the celebration towers," Ethan said. "They used to light up the sky." Varela's face turned serious. "We turned them off. Too many attacks." Ethan leaned forward. "Attacks? From who?" Varela took a deep breath. "A faction once thought destroyed, Kael'tar's loyalists. They went into hiding after the failed coup. Now they've returned, stronger and more dangerous." Ethan remembered the name Kael'tar, a cruel genius. He had tried to take the throne by force years ago, using strange mind machines and lies. Ethan had helped Varela escape from his trap once. "I thought Kael'tar was dead," Ethan said. "So did I," she replied. "But now his followers speak of a weapon he left behind, something called the Silence Field." Ethan frowned. "What is it?" "No one knows. Only that it makes people obey without question, and it is said to be based on human tech." That caught Ethan's attention. "Human?" he asked. "How did he get that?" "We don't know," Varela said. "But if it's true, only you can understand and stop it." Ethan's heart beat faster. He had no idea what this silence field was, but if it came from Earth's tech, he might recognize it. And if it could control minds, it had to be stopped. The ship landed in the royal skyport. Guards in silver armor stood tall, but their eyes were tired. People gathered to watch, some with hope, some with fear. Whispers filled the air as Ethan stepped out beside the Queen. "That's the human. The one from the stories. Can he really help us?" Varela raised her voice. "He is not a story, he is real. And he came back to stand with us." Ethan felt the weight of their eyes. He wasn't a hero. He was just a man who once made the right choice. But maybe that was enough. In the royal palace, Ethan was taken to a quiet chamber to rest. But sleep didn't come. He walked out onto the balcony. The city below was beautiful but tense. He could feel it in the air. The fear. The silence. As if the world was holding its breath. Varela joined him. She wore a soft robe now, the armor gone. She looked less like a queen, and more like the woman he once knew. "Everything feels different," Ethan said. She nodded. "It is. We survived the war, but we lost our peace." He looked at her. "Why do they believe in me so much?" Varela smiled gently. "Because you never treated us like aliens. You treated us like equals. That made you more powerful than any weapon." Ethan looked down. "What if I fail?" She touched his hand. "Then we fail together." The next morning, a meeting was held in the Grand Hall. High lords, military leaders, scientists all gathered. Ethan stood beside Varela as she addressed them. "Kael'tar's followers grow stronger," she said. "They plan to use a weapon called the Silence Field. It may be linked to human designs. That is why Ethan Voss has returned," some lords murmured. One stood. "He's only a human," the man said. "He left. Why trust him now?" Varela's voice was firm. "Because he came back when we needed him most. That's more than many of you did." Ethan stepped forward. "I don't know what this weapon is yet, but if it's based on human tech, I'll understand it. I'll help stop it." The room fell silent. A young scientist stepped forward. "I found something," she said. "A signal. Old and hidden. We tracked it to the deep vault, under the ocean city of Eleran. It's protected by ancient tech, half human, half Zalari. Virea turned to Ethan. That's where we start. Later that day, Ethan prepared for the journey. He wore a light armor suit, adapted for human use. It felt strange, heavy with memory. Virea came to see him off. The deep vault is dangerous. Many have gone in. Few came out. Ethan smiled. So, a normal mission then? She laughed softly, then grew serious. Be careful. I can't lose you again. He touched her shoulder. I'll come back, I promise. As Ethan entered the ship heading to Eleran, he looked back one last time. Virea stood on the palace steps, watching him. 5 years ago, he saved her life. Now, he had a chance to save her world, and maybe, just maybe, find where he truly belonged. The ship moved through the skies of Zealer Prime like a silver arrow. Ethan stood by the window watching as clouds turned to mist and the glowing ocean appeared below. In the distance, the ocean city of Eleran rose like a shining flower above the waves. Its towers were built from crystal and metal, shaped like spirals reaching toward the stars. But this beauty hid danger. Inside Eleran's depths was the Deep Vault, a secret place built long ago by scientists from both Earth and Zealer. It had been sealed for decades. Some said it held forbidden knowledge. Others said it held a weapon too dangerous to use. And now, Ethan was going there to find answers. The ship landed on a floating platform. Waiting for him was Captain Rin, a tall Zalari woman in black armor, and her team of guards. You must be the human, she said. I hope you're worth the risk. I get that a lot, Ethan replied. Captain Rin didn't smile. She led him through clear tunnels that went deep below the ocean's surface. Schools of glowing fish swam outside the walls. The deeper they went, the darker it became. Finally, they reached a large chamber with a heavy steel door, covered in symbols. Some Zalari, some human. This is the Deep Vault, Rin said. Only you can open it. Ethan stepped forward. His hand trembled slightly as he placed it on the scanner. The door glowed blue, then clicked. It opened. Inside, the air was cold and dry. Dust covered old machines, long dead. The walls were filled with screens and wires. Strange humming sounds came from deep inside the chamber. Captain, Rin's team moved carefully, scanning everything. Ethan walked slowly, his eyes catching old markings on the wall. NASA logos mixed with Zalari script. This place was built during the first contact missions, he said, but no one ever told me this existed. At the end of the hallway was a large room with a glowing crystal in the center. Floating above it was a map, a 3D projection of Zealer Prime marked with red zones. This is it, Rin whispered. The silence field. Ethan studied the crystal. It pulsed softly like a heartbeat. One of the scientists with them, a young man named Loro, pointed at the map. These red zones match the areas where people reported memory loss and strange behavior. Mind control, Ethan said softly. Loro nodded. The field doesn't kill, it just removes thought. People obey. They forget how to resist. Captain Rin's eyes narrowed. Kael'tar plans to spread this over the whole planet. Ethan stepped closer to the crystal. This isn't just Zalari tech. This is Earth AI programming, combined with something organic. It's alive. He reached out, and the crystal reacted. A sharp beam of light hit his arm. Ethan shouted and fell back. Guards rushed forward, but Ethan stood up slowly. I'm okay. Just a shock. Then the crystal spoke. A voice echoed in the chamber. Hello, Ethan Voss. Everyone froze. Who said that? Captain Rin asked. The crystal glowed brighter. I am Mind Core 1, human Zalari joint creation, activated by Ethan Voss's genetic code. Ethan's heart raced. Why me? Because you are the last human in the system who holds both clearance and trust. You were chosen by the Queen. You are the key. Captain Rin looked stunned. What is it talking about? Ethan stared at the crystal. This project, it was designed to bring peace, a joint program. They built it with good intentions, but something went wrong. Kael'tar must have taken control of it. The crystal continued. Warning: system compromised. Rogue code detected. Source: Kael'tar faction. Objective: domination. Recommend immediate shutdown. Ethan looked at the scientists. Can we shut it down? Loro checked the controls. The override is locked. It needs 2 inputs, one from a human with command rights, and one from a royal Zalari. Ethan nodded slowly. Viraya. Back in the skyship, Ethan contacted Viraya through the secure link. She appeared on the screen looking tired but strong. We found it, Ethan said. The silence field is real, and it's waking up. Viraya's eyes widened. Is it ready to launch? Not yet, but soon. We need to shut it down. I need you here. Viraya didn't hesitate. I'll come at once. 2 hours later, her personal transport arrived in Eleran. When Ethan saw her step off the ship dressed in silver robes, he felt a strange warmth in his chest. She walked to him quickly. You're okay? She asked. He smiled. I got zapped by a crystal. But yeah, still in one piece. They went down together into the deep vault. When Viraya saw the crystal, it spoke again. Zalari royal code detected. Override accepted. Ethan stepped forward. Ready? She nodded. Together, they placed their hands on the console. The crystal flashed. Shutdown sequence activated. Countdown 5 days. Final override must be completed in core chamber of Eleran Citadel. Viraya's face darkened. That's Kael'tar's stronghold now. Ethan nodded. He moved the last control key there. Of course he did. Captain, Rin looked at them. Then we'll take it back. Ethan turned to Viraya. Are you coming with us? She looked him in the eye. I didn't come all this way to watch from a throne. I came for my people. And for you. He smiled. Then, let's go finish this. The sun had not yet risen when the airships took flight. Above the ocean, dozens of royal ships formed a formation, heading toward the capital city of Zel-Oran, where Kael'tar had taken control of the ancient citadel. This was once a place of peace, where science and honor ruled. Now it was a fortress full of shadows and fear. Inside the lead ship, Ethan, Viraya, and Captain Rin stood around a holographic map. The core chamber is here. Rin pointed at a tower deep inside the citadel. That's where the final override must happen. How many guards? Ethan asked. Too many, she said. But we have a plan. She pressed a button. The hologram shifted, showing a tunnel entrance beneath the sea. There's an old service route under the citadel, forgotten by most. We go in quiet, shut down the silence field, and get out. Viraya nodded. If we fail, Kael'tar will spread the field across the planet. Free thought will die. This is our last chance. Ethan checked his gear. Light armor, energy pistol, and a small toolkit. Not much, but it would have to do. He looked at Viraya. You sure about this? I'm with you, she said. Until the end. As the ship reached the city skies, explosions rocked the distance. Other royal ships began a distraction assault. Smoke filled the sky. Under the cover of chaos, Ethan, Viraya, Rin, and a small strike team took a stealth pod and dove into the sea. The small vessel moved like a bullet through water, heading for the hidden tunnel. The tunnel entrance was covered, in coral and metal vines, but Rin's scanner found the lock. Ethan moved forward, opened the panel, and entered an old Earth-style code. The door clicked and slid open. Still got it, he whispered. Inside, the tunnel was cold, dark, and silent. Only their footsteps and breathing echoed in the space. Old lights flickered on slowly as they moved deeper. Suddenly, a buzzing sound filled the air. Ethan froze. Drones! From the shadows, small flying machines with red eyes appeared, weapons charged. Down! Rin shouted. The team ducked behind metal barriers. Blaster fire lit the corridor. Ethan pulled out a small EMP grenade from his belt. Cover! Me. He tossed it. The grenade blinked blue, then exploded in a silent wave. The drones dropped instantly. Varela looked at him. Nice throw. He smiled. I had a good teacher. After an hour of slow movement and 2 more drone fights, they reached the base of the Citadel Tower. The walls here were ancient, built before humans had ever touched the stars. Symbols of old Zalari kings were carved into the stone. But now, the air was filled with a strange hum. Ethan placed a hand on the wall. The silence field. It's getting stronger. Rin's face grew pale. It's already affecting people above. The longer we wait, the harder it'll be to stop. They climbed the hidden stairway step by step until they reached a steel door at the top. Varela pressed her hand to a scanner. The door opened. Inside was the core chamber. The room was round with a high ceiling and pulsing lights. In the center was a large crystal pillar glowing with red energy. Around it, screens showed cities, people, soldiers, all under the field's control. And standing beside the pillar was Kael'thar. He wore dark armor covered in strange wires. His eyes glowed with artificial light. I knew you would come, he said, voice cold and deep. Varela stepped forward. This ends now. Kael'thar laughed. You think I didn't plan for this? You think I didn't expect the human to return? He turned to Ethan. You were the last piece. Your mind, your code, needed to complete my masterpiece. Ethan's chest tightened. You used my mission data. Yes, Kael'thar said. Your peaceful mission left behind more than memories. You left knowledge. And I turned it into power. He pressed a button. The crystal glowed brighter. The hum became a roar. All around them, the lights flickered. Varela's team grabbed their heads, groaning in pain. It's starting, Ethan shouted. He's activating the final wave. He ran to the control panel, but a shield blocked it. Only one way to stop it now, Kael'thar said. Surrender, or watch your queen suffer. He raised his hand. Varela gasped and fell to her knees. The crystal was attacking her mind. Ethan's heart pounded. Then he made his choice. He ran, leaped over the shielded panel and tackled Kael'thar. The two crashed to the floor. Kael'thar punched Ethan hard, but Ethan fought back. They struggled, rolling across the floor. Sparks flew from the nearby machines. Foolish human, Kael'thar growled. You don't understand power. I don't want power, Ethan shouted. I want people to choose their own path. He slammed Kael'thar's head into the floor. The armor cracked. Ethan jumped up, pulled a power cable from his belt and connected it to the panel. Then he looked at Varela, who was still fighting the mental attack. Varela, now, override. She forced herself up, hands shaking. She reached the panel, placed her hand on the crystal interface. Ethan placed his hand beside hers. The system recognized them both. Final override accepted, shutting down silence field. The red glow faded. The hum stopped. The lights calmed. Varela collapsed into Ethan's arms. It's over, she whispered. He held her tight. You're safe now. Behind them, Kael'thar lay broken, silent. The silence field was gone, and the people of Zelar were free again. The tower shook slightly as the silence field shut down completely. Sparks flew from broken machines. On the floor, Kael'thar lay still, his armor cracked, his eyes blank. The dark glow in the core chamber faded into soft white light. Ethan sat beside Varela, his arm around her shoulders as she caught her breath. It's over, she whispered. For now, he said softly. But your people need you. They're waking up from a nightmare. She looked into his eyes. I never could have done this without you. You never had to, he smiled. You never will. An hour later, the skyships returned, with the silence. Field gone, people in the cities began to regain their minds. They looked around, confused as if waking from a long sleep. Soldiers dropped their weapons. Children cried for their parents. The heavy fog of control was gone. Captain Rin led the first unit into the citadel and saluted when she saw Varela. My queen, she said. The city is ours again. Kael'thar's supporters are surrendering. Good. Varaya replied. No more blood needs to be spilled. She stood tall even though her body was tired. Ethan looked at her with quiet pride. You should speak to them, he said. Let them hear your voice again. Later, Varaya stood on the balcony of the citadel, looking out over the city. Ethan stood behind her, watching as she spoke to her people. My brothers and sisters of Zealar, her voice echoed across the city. We have come through darkness. A false leader tried to take your minds, your hearts, your freedom, but you fought back. Even in silence, you resisted. She paused, then smiled. And we did not fight alone. A human came back to us, a friend, a hero, someone who reminded me what it means to believe in each other. The crowd below cheered. Ethan looked down, a bit shy but proud. That night, a great celebration took place in the sky gardens of the citadel. Glowing lanterns floated in the air. Music played. Food from across the stars was served on silver plates. Zalari children danced and elders told stories they had forgotten during the years of fear. Ethan stood by a crystal fountain, watching the stars. Varaya walked up beside him. Why, are you standing here alone? She asked. Just thinking, he replied. About Earth? He nodded. I've been gone a long time. They probably think I'm dead. My house, my world, everything I knew. He sighed. But it's strange. I don't miss it the way I thought I would. She looked into his eyes. Because you've found something new? He smiled. Because I've found someone. Varaya blushed softly. You don't have to decide now. You've earned the right to go home if you want. Ethan shook his head. Home isn't always a place. Sometimes it's a person. Few days later, Ethan stood on a landing pad preparing for a trip back to Earth. Varaya had given him a personal transport ship, sleek, fast, and equipped with Zalari tech and Earth-friendly systems. You really think they'll believe me when I show up in this? Ethan joked. Varaya laughed. Not at first, but they'll listen. You always had a way of making people see the truth. Rin walked over and saluted Ethan. If you ever want a job as a commander, come back. I'll keep that in mind. He grinned. Varaya stepped close to him. Will you return? She asked quietly. He looked at her and then gently took her hand. I'm just going to tell them I'm alive. That's it. I don't want to stay there. I want to live here. With you. Varaya's eyes glowed with happiness. Then I'll wait. 3 weeks later, somewhere in the mountains of Earth, an old cabin door swung open. A small boy looked up in surprise. Mom, there's a man outside. And a spaceship. An older woman stepped out of the cabin, dropping the basket she was holding. Ethan, she gasped. He smiled. Hi, Mom. She ran to him and hugged him tight. I thought you were gone forever, she cried. I was, but I found my way back. Just for a little while. After visiting his family, Ethan held a press conference with the Earth Council. He told them the truth about the Silence Field, the lost mission, and the peaceful people of Zealar. He showed them proof, images, recordings, even technology samples. Some were amazed. Some didn't believe him, but Ethan didn't care. He had done his part. A month later, the stars welcomed him back. The Queen was waiting on the landing pad, in the same place he had left. You came back, she said, smiling. Told you I would, Ethan replied, stepping off the ramp. She took his hand. Come, she said. There's so much to do. Our world is healing, and we're doing it together, he said. That night, in the quiet of the Sky Palace, Ethan stood on the balcony with Varaya. He looked up at the stars, then at her. You know, he said, when I left Earth, I never thought I'd find love among the stars. She leaned on his shoulder. And I never thought a human would change my life. He smiled. Well, I missed you so much, Varaya. She looked up at him. Then let's never be apart again. And together, they watched the stars rise, free, united, and home.